Alright guys, so like I promised, I said I was going to show very basic frequency separation. So let's take this from here to the frequency separation part, and then let's group them and then take out the layer. So basically this is, I'm going to zoom in on the face so that wow, we're on the same page. Basically what you do is you create two layers. So now I'm going to press Ctrl Alt Shift E. That means I'm merging the layers, but the layers are going on top. Okay, so they didn't merge because this was toggled off and I was merging on this, so it won't merge. So now if I merge now, it's going to merge. So now I have this layer that I'm working with. So let's just assume that we're starting from layer 14. So you duplicate layer. To duplicate layer, you can right click and do duplicate layer and name it. You can name it as the low layer, or depending on what you want. Basically you can say low layer. Low layer just means that the layer that you want to be blurred, and or you can put blur layer, anyone. Basically there's no hard and fast rule to what you name. And then you can also duplicate the layer by pressing Ctrl J. So basically you're supposed to duplicate this layer twice, and then you can rename this as the high layer. If you want to rename, of course, just click. You can add the high layer, or just put texture. Anyone. You can just put, you can put your name there. But basically it's good to label so that you can know what exactly you are doing. So basically frequency separation is separating the low layer and the high layer. That means you're separating the texture layer from the other layer that you're going to blur. So that means that you have a smooth skin and then your textures are still very much intact. That's the plan of frequency separation. So technically you can achieve that with any other edits, you know. So of course I see a lot of edits around frequency separation that does not keep the texture. Is you just need to, once the numbers are low. For instance, if you're using a Gaussian blur, which I'm going to get to, of maybe 4 or 5, it becomes, you know, that means you are reducing the amount of texture is separating. So basically, so now if you uncheck this layer, that means this layer becomes not visible. You come to this layer so that you can see what you are doing, and then you come to filter, you come to Gaussian blur, yes, and then usually you can reduce to based on your visibility. You know, if you the numbers determine everything. If you reduce, if you are this radius at 4, then bring it into the box. At 3, the blur is less. The lesser the blur, the lesser the texture that is going to be separated. So the more the blur, the more the texture is going to be separated. But of course, this is now ridiculous. So now you want to, so now let's do maybe 8 pixels, right? Or maybe we'll do 9, just to see more texture, right? Press OK. And once it has affected, what you do is you check this layer, you can see it's clear. Then you come to the texture layer and now go to image, then you go to apply image, and then you come and what you want to apply the image to is the blur layer. Basically that's why you have to label well. If it's just layer maybe 15 now, you might be confused. But if you, is that the blur or the low layer, depending on what you named it. If you named it your name, Ade, Charles, Rice, anything you named it as, you know, just pick it. but of course name it as something so that you know that it's the low layer or the blur layer. Yes. Semantics name, I don't know that one. Yeah, blur layer. And then I want to subtract. So now because you want to take away the texture from the image, so you want to subtract. Now the offset, this figure scale to offset 128. Why? I don't know. It just works like that. That's how it has always worked for frequency separation. I'm sure that there's a reason to it, but I don't know it. So yeah, I'm going to talk about what I don't know. But basically, the figures are 2 and 128. And then once I press OK, what happens is that I have a texture layer, and then I have a blur layer. Now to make this visible, so you come and change the blend mode to linear light. Basically, this is all about frequency separation. Then what do you now want to do? You want to group them and name them. If you group, you can rename to maybe FS, or my FS, or my frequency, or anything you want to do, frequency separation. And basically that's all. And then so what happens is that the moment you pick your mixer brush, oh yeah, that's the last step. Basically, you take your mixer brush, you come to the blur layer. So anything you do on the blur layer, now can you see it smoothens up the image. Now the blur layer, basically, now remember that the figure we put was 9. This is just for learning purposes only. I've been a bit more careful, but now basically I just painted around and I'm using my mouse. I'm not using my tablet now. Basically I use both on the question of which is better and all that. I don't know. I'm used to both. So yeah, so can you see the effect of just the blur layer? And I'm basically just painting. Now the mixer brush, you have the wet, you have the load, you have the mix. You can check out the wet should be around maybe some 20 to 30, depending on you can try out the effects. The load should be 20% thereabouts. Basically the mix 90, you can leave it at 100. The flow, basic, you can explore between 20 to even 100. You see all the differences. All of them are very subtle differences. So now if you want to go to the texture layer, right, you come to clone stamp. So recall that I had already used healing brush in my previous video of this same image to work on the face, which is what I do basically. I want to reduce the amount of blemishes even before I enter frequency separation. I just enter frequency separation. But of course, different people, different styles. Any style that works. If I now see a texture that is very prominent, I can then take it out. Now I use clone stamp to take it out. My opacity was set to 100. My flow was set to 64, and of course I set the size to 28, hardness to 0. Everything has to be 0. I use a soft round brush. Now if I try to clone stamp, you can see this. Why this is because my sample layer is set to current and below. That means it's sampling everything underneath. Now I want to only sample the current layer. Now I can go back, and now once I now pick a sample, then it can. So now for training purposes, I'm going to do this a bit roughly just to make it smooth so that you can see the effects right on screen. But normally, even if I want this smoother, I would either go through a second frequency separation, just to, or I can even redo and reduce the figures, and basically smoothing up again. But I wouldn't touch the textures that I have presently. I'll just make sure that the skin is smoother, and then make sure that the textures remain. So I don't want to tamper with textures too much. So now I've done a few, just to show you. Now if you take this, now you can see that there's a bit of smoothness around the under the eye and all of that. So it's after this, a lot of times you can see that just reducing that texture and even frequency separation dampens some of the highlights, which is what I do basically with Dodge and Bond. I bring back the highlights so that your face is just not looking flat. You can have a bit of contrast and highlights in the face is a 3D, and then what light helps you to do is light helps you to show it that way. It doesn't just show it as a flat surface. It gives it a bit of structure basically. So Touch and Bond revisits the structure. Now okay, I think in my next video I'm going to show how frequency separation action works, just to give a bit of quick, so that you can work quick basically. Let's assume I wanted to do it again on this image. I don't need to go through the process of creating 2 layers and all that. I already recorded it. That's what action is about. I'll just going to show you how to record later, maybe another video. But basically, if I wanted to do it, I just come here and I click on my my own created highlights. So what it does is that it has already done the layers for me, rename. Then these are some of the things that I need to impute so that I know the figure that I want for it. So for instance, if I wanted 9 or 8, I just leave it. I press OK. It finishes it up, and then we're good to go. Now this is frequency separation. This is for me. And so if I come to the low layer, and then let's take this out, and then I use the mixer brush and do this again, you see that it has an effect again on the image. So now see, can you see? So yeah, so that's basically all about frequency separation. Comment, subscribe. Next video we're going to show you how to create the action. So yeah, see you guys, bye.